Good morning.
Good morning.
So, the point of this is the marketing/creative panel. Obviously, we all represent something in the marketing or creative realm. And Ginny had a fantastic idea to start off discussions. Of course, this is going to evolve into a general room discussion, just like the real estate panel did, and that's what we wanted to. But to sort of start things off, Ginny had an idea of coming up with a fictitious, actually a real project that we could all participate in, and we could tell you what we would be involved in for each of our expertise and how that would look, etc. So Ginny, do you want to start us off in terms of that and what the project is?
Okay, well, the project is a client preparing for a trade show. So this is going to cover all the elements of how they're going to deal with their sales team, what they're going to have in the booth, how they're going to, present themselves, and archive it, for future use, like on social media or on the website, and any kind of print materials or giveaways they will need to have.
Fantastic. You want to start with your...
Okay, so typically what I would do would be to provide booth graphics. Generally, they would develop a booth and they'd have to have some kind of panels, maybe promoting a new product. They would have handouts at the show that could be it could either be just a corporate brochure, it could be data sheets, it could be anything, that then John could print. They might do an invitation to breakfast for their sales team so they can kind of, get them prepped for the show and get them all excited about a new product if they're showcasing a new product, which typically they would probably do. They would figure out what kind of invitation they wanted to send out to prospective clients and existing clients to invite them to visit them in the booth, which may then be on social media, could also be published on their website. And I would provide any art that would need to go with that, as well as some giveaway items, which I brought some examples that they could give away at trade shows. This was something I actually did for Museum Explorer that was in a trade show.
What is it?
It's just a light up, it clips on.
Put it on your dog.
I actually had a client that I did these for, and their new sales and marketing person kind of turned up his nose at him until the vice president of the company took him to the top level of their booth, and throughout the trade show they had little flashing lights everywhere, so he had to get a little pro after that. This is a pretty cool item.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, wow.
That is great.
It works.
What? Wow, is that cool?
Phone battery. And it charges your phone at the same time?
No, just charges.
There you go.
Giveaways.
Are those Cheetos or they're
It's
actually
Cheetos, yeah.
Cheetos.
Kurt wants those.
I want those. I'd show it to you, but okay.
Water bottles.
That's great. Isn't that great?
This is a folded up t-shirt that you can then imprint your own graphic and give these away. This is all obviously dependent on on budget, depending on how much you want to spend. This is an interesting thing. You can put your cell phone in here, and then you put your business cards in here, and you can wear it at a trade show. So,
Yeah, kind of nice.
so those are some of the things that.
You pass around a little fanny thing? A little fan? I'll give it back.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
There you go.
You want her little fanny?
So,
Class settles. Yeah, you can order them from me.
And so similar to that, the video needs that you need for an actual conference are based on budget. There's the first thing is you need a promo commercial for the actual event. So if you want people to actually know you're going to be there, you want a video to either promote that you're going to be there. Once you're there, you got to figure out if you're selling a widget, you're selling a service, and then you'll probably want a commercial that'll be on your booth. So in addition to a beautiful graphic, you see a TV, you at least give it 5 seconds. So if you have something interesting, someone will walk to that. Depending on the CEO or president, if they're into the social media personal brand, they could be the star of a video of a person going through the conference. So basically someone like me following them around, seeing them interacting with all the vendors, seeing what they do. If they give a panel talk, you're probably going to record that. You want to put that on your YouTube or your website. Then if you want to promote, like if you see this as an annual or a quarterly event, you may want to get some footage of the event so you can pitch the next event. And that's, again, you want someone to kind of follow it around, get an idea as to what's going on. And then I think there's about 4 ideas. So it's really dependent on your budget, if it's going to be multiple events or just the one, what you're selling. I think the most important thing is once you get to the event, you probably want a video on your table to stand out, because you go to trade shows, it's maybe one every 10 or 20. So just being the only person in the landscape with a TV, I mean, I'm at a bar and talking to someone and I just start watching a game. I mean, we just watch TV. So you have one of those and it'll just draw people to you. So.
And you need a place to put that video, which is a
Right.
website, or to promote, whether it be the event or the company or the business, etc. I know that I've done websites just for trade shows in particular. Because even though there might be a company and they've got their own separate company website, a show is clearly its own thing and deserves its own recognition and space out in the interwebs. And so a dedicated, in fact, I've even seen dedicated logos just for the show that's independent of that company or whatever it is that's putting it on. So clearly there's an opportunity for that, but it goes above and beyond just videos and content and whatnot. It could be functional, registration, event registration. There are many communications. There are many different ways to obviously utilize the website. I don't need to go over with you what those are, but clearly there's a way to sort of bring everything together that everybody does, utilizing what we all do.
At the last minute, everyone comes up with an idea of what needs to be done. And I have just a few ideas that have come across. This is just a panel that you might internally pass out to your own sales team of different items to highlight that you want to focus their attention on. But at the booth, when someone's giving out presentations, you really don't want to have large posters to take out because they're a pain in the side. But instead, I just did an entire color brochure of different projects that they had done and different ads that this particular company had made. So this was a very cost-effective 4-color. It's all done digitally, and it was in 2 days later. They had 250 copies to pass out. There are other types of conventions, and those are also called expos, which are conferences, in which case they might have a larger book and fill in the forms and fill in the blanks of different presentations. You go to the Houseware show in Chicago, and there's more breakout sessions and more presentations in separate rooms. So we've done something as simple as black and white printing, just show guides kinds of things. Last but not least, one of my favorite things is always a little leave behind that you can give to your clients. These are rounded corners because it's soft, it's easier, because a lot of people don't like little small things, so rounded corners work out well, easy to fold and bend and get in. So there's a variety of things that you can do even at the last minute, and while we need a Ginny to lay it out and set it up, you need someone to video it, you also need someone to print it, so I'm happy to help out in that regard.
Posted?
Yeah, by all means.
I like it. You need a gin.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jack.
So, you made a great case of why you need to do things in anticipation of a trade show rather than just showing up and showing up. But why would someone individually work with people like you rather than working with a full service company that can provide all those things and coordinate? And on the other hand, what about those that might say, I could do that myself?
Well, working with us individually, generally you can get some better pricing. The places that are a one-stop shop will generally be more expensive, and you might not need all the services that they offer. So this way you can sort of pick and choose what you need done.
Also, we're all experts in our own individual field, right? I'm an expert in what I do, he is, and she is. And a lot of times when you go to a one-stop shop, not always, but sometimes when you go to a one-stop shop or an agency of some sort, it might be a little bit watered down because they try to cover everything. And maybe they're very good at a few particular things, but there are a couple that maybe they're, they just added it on because they started getting requests for that. So when you hire independently, we're not independent, we do work together. Clearly, she has to communicate with him, I have to communicate. So we are independent, but yet we collaborate, and we're all individual experts in what we do, I think.
And the last, I've done my own plumbing. And I suck. I suck. So people do it all the time, and you can do that with your photos and videos, but you really get what you don't pay for. And so I think a lot of times I try, like with video, because we all have the media company in our pocket. Like I kind of imagine a McDonald's CEO running around, taking photos at his own at the event, or like if you're a big company, you know to just sub it out. You know to get someone professional. So that's the way I view it. I mean, you can do it yourself, but.
And one last thing I'd like to say is, because you would be working with each of us individually, we care about the outcome of the project. We want to make sure that what we do for you works for you, and not just because, like a designer I used to work for, he had always said, oh, let's make this an award winner. It's not an award winner unless it's good for the client, and we all care about that.
Yeah.
I concur. The one small element that we're kind of missing here is someone like a Nancy or a Wendy, because we do have to create a theme. What really helps a lot of organizations when we want to make even a small size, we're not Coca-Cola, we're not General Motors, but we often will come to Oak Lawn type conferences or Schaumburg, and you really want to have a theme to kind of cover it all. So an ad person or a person who's got a pretty good projection of where you want to tailor your product to it. That's the person who helps then coordinate and work with all of us.
Guys, the other thing is, one thing, large agencies, trade shows are not done by the top people. They're done by the 22-year-old who just got out of college. So then maybe sold on their creative, that's, but that's not who the actual working will work. So that's number one. The other thing is, if you actually want someone to run it as a project, with all the bits and pieces taken care of, I'm sure if you ask any one of these people, hey, this is what I want to do. I want you to kind of run point for me, but I need all these other things done too. Can you take care of that for me? I'm sure every one of you would say, absolutely. I'm going to go do. That's the business. And we're going to get the top people because we want our stuff to look good. That's otherwise we're disappointed.
Yeah. So also the DIY, as Mike was talking about, the do-it-yourself concept. I always say when somebody comes to me for websites, when somebody comes to me, one of the first things I try to assess is what is their skill level? Could they do it themselves? Because my first instinct is to always say, if you have the ability, whether it's the expertise, the time, the capability, do it yourself, right? Unless it interferes with getting the other stuff done that you need to do at your job or at your office or whatever, unless it's really poor quality, right? But if you have the capability to do your own taxes, do your own taxes, right? If you can, create your own website, go do it, right? But if there's anything that takes away from the quality, takes away from your time and so on, which is usually what ends up happening, then of course, hire the professional, hire the plumber, hire, the graphic designer and so on. So that's my first gut instinct with that.
Yeah, Al had a question.
Tie into that, when I first started my business broker, I did my own site through Vistaprint. But it looked like it came from Vistaprint. And then when I came to CJ, he changed it around and just made it look so much better. So to my point, you get what you pay for or what you don't pay for. World of difference between what I have now and what I had when I first started.
Thanks, Joe.
So my thing is, as you videotape and you post on his website, how do you guys look to try to track that and hits and all that?
I think it depends, yes, but I mean, if it's embedded from YouTube, you can see everything there. I guess to what point? To like see where the traffic's coming from? Like
Exactly, because you're at the conference, right, X amount of people go through it, right? So you want to have some kind of results or ideas of what transpired from that and how productive. And one of the aspects you do is video, and he does the website. So how you guys would collaborate?
That's basically a landing page for like conference.com/Mike, conference.com/Ginny, and then someone can go like if Ginny's handing out socks and that's the web address, you can just see who goes to the website, and so that's one way to track. That's probably the easiest way, just individual landing pages.
Yeah. And of course, post convention or post event, you can track direct mail printing by coupons and how many are returned or what the feedback is. So a lot of giveaways like that, 10% off your next order, whatever.
And then that's all subtle changes too. Like if I have a 15% off, she has a 10% off, then you can also, those little, you're not doing a separate website, someone's doing that code for 10% off or 15, that's another way to be able to track, just little small tweaks.
Or coupon codes.
On a smaller level, when I did a show years ago, when they would call, I met you at the show. So if you're doing the show right, there should be a connection. And when they call, they'll refer and try to remind you, but that's depending on who they're calling. On a bigger scale, if you're calling a 1-800 number, you need something else to track. But on a smaller scale, they're going to remind you that they met you at the show and told me to call.
To that point, Google now, with Google Voice, you could set up conference@gmail.com and then set up a Google Voice number. So, and then you get that app, and then so every time just that new conference, then they'll make the call to that number and it'll be another tracking so that you know, oh, that was at the Schaumburg show. So that's one way to kind of go about it if you do want to track individually, if you're doing like every other week or something.
As far as capturing the information, if I come to your booth, is it just where they just scan your badge and that's how you get their information to do that follow-up that you're talking about? Or is there something that they physically fill out at the show?
Any of the above. You've seen it before where maybe it's something you fill out, maybe you just drop your card in, the fishbowl kind of concept, QR barcode, scan and get entered into a raffle or something like that. And, as Mike was saying, it's all about whatever that web address is that's on that, whatever the unique URL that's in this QR code that they're scanning, it's unique and it can be tracked. It can be tracked, on the web side of things to say, okay, I know that somebody landed landed on this page that was relevant to her. Somebody scanned a barcode that was relevant to him, and so on. And so you have an exact count as to how many there were for each, whatever it might be. But it might also be subscribing to your mailing list. That's a way to track. So if we say, scan this to be entered into the raffle and join our mailing list, it's a twofer, right? We've got the person's contact info in our mailing list, and then we've got a quantity we know how effective that campaign was because we know exactly where they came from and why they were there. So a lot of different ways to track it, get numbers, linking the videos to the stats as well as possible. The different, as Mike was saying, the different landing pages. There's code that can be put on each individual page. And if somebody lands on a particular page, that's called a conversion, and it'll show, like in Google Analytics, it'll show that you have 3 conversions and so on. And you define what your conversions are, what your pipeline is. So lots of different, infinite number of ways to track, but lots of different possibilities.
And I'm going to jump on that too, because it's also, ideally, I think you can get people to sign up for your mailing list, because then you could reach out personally. So that's like top level. If you can just get their information, that's what you want. Second is something cute that they'll take and then they'll think about you. Like they'll take and they'll keep it for 2 weeks, not like take it and then throw it out 5 feet away. So that's, because then it's just, maybe they call, maybe they don't. But if you can get their information, at least you can proactively reach out to them and say, hey, you signed up for my thing, blah, blah, blah. So I think that's the way to look at it. So yes, do them all if you can.
The third thing is promos. If someone's walking around with a flashing thing, other people are coming to your booth, so why don't you get that?
Yeah.
That's knowing the landscape, and then because everyone's got a pen. Everyone's going to give out pens because those are easy. So if you have a cute flashlight or socks,
I have a question, and this may be going to, I am not a geek. In fact, I'm just the opposite, and anything to do with technology scares the crap out of me. But, it seems to me there's a tremendous opportunity here, to your point about big agency versus smaller shop. If one of the sales pitches, maybe CJ you could give, or Mike you could give, is at the end of this adventure, I'm going to give you a report about what happened here based on real numbers. I'm going to tell you how many people came to this booth, how many people opened your website, how many people viewed this video on YouTube, and I'm going to give you some information about those people. And that's part of my service. Do you guys do anything like that? Or you do?
That's just the initial conversation of what you're trying to do at the conference. Like if you just want people to come up and try your massage chair, then we'll make a cool video to do that, and then we'll just have a camera so you can time lapse everyone walking up, so you can literally see if you need email or something. So depending on what your goal is, I think then you can look at data.
Then using the conference is the sales point of using it. So I'm not only getting work done for this particular convention, I'm also getting information I can use about my marketing in the future, because I have an idea of who I'm attracting and who is looking past me that shouldn't be attracted to
What I was getting at is help in consolidating that data for a non-tech person.
Yeah, the data is out there, obviously. It's just a matter of compiling it so that it's in human readable form so that you can understand it easily.
Even if it's just a page.
Yeah.
You did
Well, that'd probably be the best.
Yeah.
Just a single page, yeah.
Can I make a suggestion too? Somebody has done countless trade shows and they've upgraded since then. I stopped doing it 5 years ago, but one of the things that I found really helpful, we do all of these things to drive the business, to get the customer, to talk to the customer. There are 2 apps, and I recommend that everybody has one of them. Calendly, where you can book me. And for those of you who aren't familiar with them, it's an online calendar booking appointment, and you can set them up for whatever duration you want. Half an hour, 45 minutes, blah, blah. So all these tire kickers and chair triers that you keep taped to an actual lead status from a prospect status, if you say, hey, you like that chair? I'd love to tell you more about it. This is a busy place. I don't want to do it right now. Let me pull out my calendar, and you press the button, and it books an appointment, and you say, what's your email? What's your phone number? Just that alone takes so many just vague prospects to true leads. So I would recommend, even at a trade show, that everybody has that available and ready, or when you go to a networking event. don't go trade emails back and forth 50 times. Say, hey, let's do it right now. Pull out your phone, press the button. I'm sending you the invitation. You're done. There are 2 different ones. I believe you can book these a little more expensive. Calendly can be free, depending on how you use it. It's Calend, like calendar. Calendly.
L-Y.
Right? L-Y. And it'll let you set your appointments by duration, set it up however you like. And then you're taking people to real leads on the spot.
Yeah, I've been using it for a couple of years.
It's fabulous.
I have it in my email signature. Click to schedule a call with me or a meeting. And you can set up different event types, whether it's an in-person meeting at a specific location or just a phone call for a certain duration, or a kickoff call for when your project starts, or a follow-up discussion. You determine what that event is, but it's super easy. And I've had almost every single person that's ever gone through that process through my link has always said to me, what is that you're using? Did you make that? What is it? It is so easy.
What calendar does it hook up to? Yours?
Yes. So it hooks up to your Google Calendar, your Outlook Calendar,
it just
or whatever.
automatically does it? Wow.
Yeah, it automatically puts that into it. If the client cancels or reschedules, it'll change it in your calendar too. It's really nice.
Because my big trouble is closing. I'll also, someone will say, oh, gee, I should contact you, and I'm like, oh yeah, here's my card. But this is say, why don't we set a date? If it doesn't work out, fine, but at least you got this.
Yeah, how many times have you sent an email or received one to try to find a common time to talk or to meet, right? And there's a back and forth of like 3 different emails. So all I do is I just say, please find a time here that works for you, and I'll give you a call then. And that here is a link, right, to my calendar. And that's it. And there's no back and forth. It's easy for them, it's easy for me, so it works very well. Great suggestion, Nancy. Did you have another one?
Well, I was just going to kind of explain kind of why I asked the question initially, and in past lives I've managed dozens of trade shows, both as an exhibitor and as a marketing consultant. And one thing that I learned was that you don't, clients will come out on these trade shows because they don't work. So here's why they don't work. Because you're in a room with hundreds of other exhibitors. You got to do the things that make you stand out. It's the graphics, whether it's videos, the kind of things that draw people to the booth. So once I trained them on that, it's even really well. You guys answered this question before.
I think also you have to zero in on just your issue one of that trade shows. It's just getting volumes.
It's pre-marketing, it's, how you present, and the right
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what's your call to action, I think, is what it really comes down to. Like, what's your goal, right? What's your goal, whether it be for a trade show or a website or a video or an ad, a pamphlet, a flyer, whatever. What's your goal? What do you want them to do? And then what do you consider a conversion, right? And how do you count that and keeping track of those?
The only thing you guys are missing on this panel is someone to train the sales staff who are in that booth. Because
But that should be the company's job.
that's always the.
They don't know what sales is, they're not worried about
That was one of the things that I always told my clients. It's just going to sit share behind the table. It's the table in the back. You want to have people,
Yeah.
you want to be, inviting. But the other thing that I found real early on in my career with the trade shows was, you want to do things to get people in. I was at a real high-end trade show for swimming pool or something, and the booth that I was working at, they had food. They had big, beautiful shrimp. And they ran out. I watched this guy. He's coming out of the kitchen. He's got this big tray of shrimp, and there's dozens of people following him. He puts it down, they get the shrimp, and they left.
Right.
Oh,
I said, you just wasted your money. That's not how you do people. I mean, it's nice to have, but it wasn't effective for what they were.
Yeah, how many Super Bowl commercials did you watch that everybody loved, and then you were asked, so what was it for? And you're like,
I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, that's a corn service.
Okay.
How much time do we have?
I think we're done.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So if you have any trade shows or you know what we
just
do
need printing.
individually,
Okay, how about
printing
video?
and so
How
on,
about a
video.
website?
No, we're out of time. But you know what you can do? What you
Talk to
can
us
do
afterwards.
Right now.
is you
Hey,
can
Calendarly.
schedule your coffee with them or anybody else. No, but seriously, you know how to reach us. Yeah. Feel free to schedule that coffee with anybody, and you know we're happy to help in any way we can.
I think the takeaway is that what you're doing in marketing, whether it's a trade show or something else, I think it really pays to work with the professionals and bring you the kind of quality and expertise that most people don't have. That's not what we do. And it's really important to use people like that when you're trying to DIY it.
But wait, there's more.
Okay.
Ginny has 4 questions.
We have 4 questions.
We have 4 questions.
I have questions.
To giveaways.
Okay.
And you have to get right.
Okay.
See if you were paying attention.
I'll try the first question for him. Okay. Oh, wait a second. Are they already raised the question?
I don't know, work with my iPhone.
Okay. So. All right. My question to the group. Let's try to find the person who knows. What is the most effective media available today? Is it TV, podcasts, radio, newspapers? Take it away. What is it? Kurt? That's a good choice, but no, it's not. Yes, Mike. YouTube is also very good. The most effective trade media used today is actually radio. That has higher impact, garners more people every day than any other media that's available. It's radio.
That wasn't mentioned today.
Yeah.
But that was a question.
But that wasn't.
There's a reason for that. People's radio is very focused. You have very defined audiences that listen to certain stations. So, you want to get the young people, don't put them on WTF. Because their numbers, it's not the right audience.
Yeah.
It's very focused.
What was the name of the app? The app that was mentioned for scheduling.
Calendly.
Kurt, say it first.
Okay. So Kurt's a winner there. All right. He chose.
Perfect.
Couldn't be
You're wearing them next week.
next week. We'll be seeing it.
This wasn't mentioned, but does anyone know the max video size for Instagram?
The maximum video size?
How
Oh,
long
jeez.
you can upload?
Bunch of pixels. 3,000.
The long duration, yeah.
87 minutes.
A minute?
Clean it up.
The entire thing.
It was a minute.
No, come on, there's another pair.
Hand it off.
So you, camera just rolls the answer.
1 minute.
No one got the. Okay. Good.
IGTV is 10.
Yeah.
Okay, name 2 things that I would provide the client for the trade show.
2 things? Premiums. Design.
Design
And,
Well, specifically,
Graphics, giveaways,
Yes.
and
literature. Yes.
okay, we have
Stuff.
winners.
All right. How about that? Good. Talk about nice promos. There you go. No one's got mine. I can't. I'm not sure I can come up with
She
it.
just gave it to you, so.
No, I don't. If you're looking for something.
Hey, Cal, do we have another question for people or what?
Okay, we're good. Thank you all. Yeah.